Ass son doing? Your son can only afford one hoe. If he could afford 10 hoes, he'd be doing the same shit my son doing. Okay? It's part of the program. When I met my husband, his mama told me, that think he cute, he likes, he think his shit don't stink. No ma'am, I don't think it's a good fit for you. That's what she told me. She said, proceed with caution. That's what I did. I proceeded with my husband with caution.
The internet didn't just blink last night, it flinched. Because when Angela sat down, strapped to a lie detector, smiling like she already rehearsed the truth, something else got exposed. And it wasn't just answers. It was nerves. It was energy. It was the kind of silence that makes your stomach drop before the beat even hits. Then Karlissa spoke, not calmly, not carefully, not politically correct. She came in swinging with a warning so cold it felt personal. You feet gone, be cold. And just like that, this stopped being a test and turned into a threat wrapped in a proverb, dipped in shade, and served hot to millions watching in real time. This wasn't a reaction. This was a detonation. The type of moment where group chats go quiet, timelines refresh on their own, and everyone suddenly remembers every rumor they ignored before. Because when a mom goes public like this, it's never random. It's strategic. It's loaded. It's the kind of energy that says, I know something you don't. And I'm tired of pretending. The lie detector might have asked the questions, but Karlissa delivered the verdict. Before that lie detector ever powered on, this situation was already cooked. Not simmering. Not warming up. Cooked. Because when Angela agreed to take that test, she didn't just sign up to answer questions. She volunteered to reopen every rumor, every side-eye moment, every that don't sound right whisper people buried months ago. And the wild part? She walked in confident, smiling, acting like truth was about to give her a victory lap. But lie detectors don't care about confidence. They care
because the mammy gonna tell you. And when I tell them, guess what they do? They get mad. All of them, girl, it ain't you, Like the one he talking to now that just took the lie detector test. I thought she was gonna be an amazing fucking fit until she had a fit that he didn't make it to the dinner on time. Then that's when my light bulb went on and said, ooh, damn, she fine as she clean. She got her life in order, but she don't have no dad, so she doesn't really understand that a baby mama gonna drag that shit out from time to time. Okay? And you gotta be comfortable with that shit. And everybody ain't comfortable with it.
They care about sweat, breathing, pulse. The little tells people can't rehearse in the mirror. The background to this mess matters. Because this didn't start with a chair, wires, and yes or no questions. This started with long-standing tension, slick interviews, online shade disguised as clarifying, and that familiar influencer move where somebody tells half a story and lets the internet fill in the rest. Like a toxic group project, Angela's name has been floating in drama orbit for a while. Close enough to feel the heat, far enough to claim innocence. The kind of position where every word is calculated, every post feels curated, and every denial sounds like it came with legal advice. She's been playing chess while pretending it's checkers, and most people bought it. Until now, because once you say, put me on a lie detector, you're basically yelling, let's gamble my reputation on a machine older than most of my followers. That's when things shifted. Karlissa didn't say much at first. And if you know anything about people who really know the tea, silence is never peace, it's pressure. She watched. She listened. She waited. And that waiting, that was the calm before the kind of storm that flips boats. Not umbrellas, the test starts. Questions sound simple. Too simple. The type of questions that feel safe, almost comforting, like the machine is lulling you into a false sense of security. Angela answers smoothly, voice steady, posture relaxed. If confidence were currency, she looked rich. But here's the thing nobody likes to admit, lie detectors don't just react to lies. They react to fear of being exposed and suddenly, the energy changes. Micropauses start creeping in. Breaths get a little shallower. Answers stretch half a second longer than they should. Not enough for a casual viewer to clock immediately, but enough for anyone who's watched enough courtroom dramas to know when the music is about to shift. Online, people were already splitting into teams like it was a playoff game. Some saying, "See, she calm. She telling the truth." Others going, "Nah." That pause was loud. And then came the reactions, screenshots, slow motion clips. Side-by-side comparisons. Internet detectives working overtime like rent was due at midnight. Every blink analyzed like it was the Zapruder film. And right when the debate hit peak chaos, Karlissa entered the chat. No long thread, no essay, no disclaimer. Just a sentence so cold it felt like winter showed up uninvited. "You feet gone be cold." That wasn't slang. That was prophecy energy. The kind of line your aunt says right before Thanksgiving dinner turns into a screaming match. The kind of phrase that doesn't accuse, it warns, and the internet froze because everybody understood what that meant without needing subtitles. Cold feet don't come from weather. They come from standing on shaky ground, from walking somewhere you shouldn't have gone, from stepping into something you thought was safe and realizing the floor is ice. Karlissa didn't challenge the test. She didn't debate the machine. She challenged Angela's future. That's when people started rewinding everything. Old interviews suddenly sounded different. Casual jokes didn't feel so casual anymore. That one laugh that felt awkward months ago, now it looks suspicious. What used to be dismissed as internet reaching started lining up a little too neatly. And let's be clear, when a mother speaks like that publicly, it's never impulsive. That's not clout chasing. That's not trolling. That's someone who feels cornered enough to stop protecting the room. The first reactions were chaos. Some fans tried to downplay it, calling it drama bait, saying Karlissa was just talking spicy for attention. But others caught the tone. This wasn't loud, it was precise, calm, surgical. Like someone dropping a chess piece and already knowing how the board ends. Angela, meanwhile, stayed quiet, and silence, at this stage, is louder than denial. No immediate clapback. No laughing it off. No y'all doing too much post. Just a pause. And in internet time, pauses are dangerous. They create space for theories to grow legs and run marathons. People don't wait for explanations, they build narratives. And once a narrative sticks, truth has to sprint to catch up. Comment sections turned into war zones. Some people saying the test proved everything. Others saying the test proved nothing. But almost everyone agreeing on one thing: Karlissa knows more than she's saying. Because "your feet gone be cold" isn't a reaction to answers. It's a response to consequences. And that's where this story really starts tightening. Because once consequences enter the chat, reputations stop being flexible. Relationships start cracking. And the internet, it doesn't forget, it bookmarks. What nobody realized in that moment is that the lie detector wasn't the climax. It was the invitation. The moment Karlissa dropped that line, the internet didn't argue, it activated. Not debated. Not discussed. Activated like somebody hit a red button labeled "Do Not Press" and then acted surprised when alarms went off. Because now this wasn't just about a lie detector. It was about why that warning landed the way it did. Memes came first. They always do. Within minutes, "You feet gone be cold" was everywhere, stitched onto icy sidewalks, frozen cartoon toes, Titanic deck scenes, and winter storm alerts that had nothing to do with weather. One post had Angela photoshopped standing on an iceberg with a lie detector cord trailing behind her like an anchor. Another compared Karlissa's sentence to something straight out of a mob movie, not a threat, just a forecast. And that's when you know something hit. When humor shows up before explanations, it means people feel a truth but don't fully understand it yet. Celebrity reactions didn't help calm things down either, they poured gasoline on it. Influencers started reacting in that half-joking, half-serious tone where they pretend they're laughing but their eyes are doing math. The kind of "I'm just saying" commentary that lets you speak without owning the fallout. Some hinted that lie detectors are tricky, others said moms always know. And a few dropped cryptic posts about karma that felt a little too well-timed to be coincidence. Even people who had nothing to do with the situation suddenly had opinions. That's the danger of viral controversy. It turns strangers into experts and friends into spectators. Everyone had a theory, and every theory sounded plausible because the silence on Angela's side kept feeding it. And let's talk about that silence. At first, people thought it was strategic. She waiting for the noise to die down, but the noise didn't die, it mutated. It evolved into something smarter, sharper, and more dangerous. Instead of yelling, the internet started connecting dots. Old live stream clips resurfaced. Screenshots that were once ignored suddenly became evidence. Even harmless jokes from months ago got reinterpreted, like they were confessions hiding in plain sight. This is how scandals age in dog years. And Karlissa, she didn't flood the timeline. She didn't over-explain. She let the chaos do the work. That's veteran behavior. That's someone who understands that when people start talking for you, all you have to do is stay still and let gravity handle the rest. Every time someone defended Angela, someone else replied with that line again. "You feet gone be cold." It became a refrain. Not loud, but persistent. Like a hook in a song you didn't want stuck in your head. The lie detector itself became almost irrelevant. Analysts popped up online breaking down why those tests aren't admissible in court, why nerves don't equal lies, why the machines are outdated. All true, all logical, all useless. Because logic doesn't trend, drama does. And in the court of public opinion, vibes beat facts every time. Angela's supporters tried to flip the narrative, claiming Karlissa was projecting, clout chasing, stirring the pot. But even that argument fell thin. Because Karlissa wasn't chasing attention, attention was chasing her. She said one sentence and disappeared. That's not a thirst trap. That's a pressure drop. Then came the speculation wave. People started asking questions they hadn't dared ask before. Why did Angela volunteer for the test now? Why not earlier, when rumors were smaller? Why this platform? Why these questions? And most importantly, why did Karlissa sound so certain? Certainty is contagious. You don't have to prove anything when you sound like you already know the ending. And Karlissa sounded like someone who's already read the last page and is just watching everyone else catch up. At this point, the situation stopped being funny and started feeling uncomfortable. Because when jokes turn uneasy, it means people sense stakes. Reputations were wobbling. Relationships were being side-eyed. Every association became a liability. People began distancing themselves subtly, unfollowing, muting, avoiding direct mentions like names were suddenly radioactive. And still, no response. That absence did more damage than any statement could have. Because the internet doesn't respect quiet when it smells blood in the water. It interprets it as weakness, or worse, guilt. Karlissa's phrase started sounding less like shade and more like a countdown. Cold feet, cold ground, cold consequences. This was no longer about whether Angela lied. It was about whether she underestimated how fast perception can flip. And while everyone was busy arguing about wires and heart rates, something bigger was happening underneath. Trust was eroding. Once that starts, it doesn't need proof to continue. It feeds on doubt, and doubt spreads faster than truth ever could. By the end of that week, the narrative had shifted completely. Angela wasn't defending herself against accusations anymore. She was defending herself against expectations. People expected something to drop. A message, a clarification, a revelation, anything. Because when a mother warns publicly and then goes quiet, it usually means the next move isn't hers. And that's when the story crossed a line from scandal into fallout territory. Because cold feet don't just feel uncomfortable. By the time the dust started settling, one thing was painfully clear: nothing was actually settled. The noise quieted, sure, but the damage stayed loud. That's how these moments work. The internet moves on, but reputations don't heal on the same timeline. They linger, they ache. They remember Angela's image didn't collapse overnight, it fractured. And fractures are worse than breaks because they spread. Every appearance after that test felt heavier. Every post got dissected. Even neutral statements were read like coded messages. The audience wasn't listening anymore, they were interpreting. And once people stop hearing what you say and start guessing what you mean, control is gone. Friends started sounding cautious. Associates got vague. Support turned conditional, not loud abandonment, quiet distancing. The kind where nobody announces they're stepping away, they just stop standing close enough to be splashed when things get messy. And that's when you realize how much public trust is built on perception, not proof. Nobody needed confirmation. The feeling was enough. Karlissa, on the other hand, didn't gain popularity, she gained authority. There's a difference. Popularity fades. Authority lingers. She became the person people referenced without tagging. The voice in the background of every conversation. The sentence people typed instead of explanations. When your words become shorthand, you've already won the narrative war. And she never followed up. That silence turned her line into legend. Because now, no matter what happens next, people will connect it back to that moment. If something drops, she warned us. If something doesn't, she still knew how to shake the table without flipping it. That's power. Relationships around Angela didn't implode. They tightened awkwardly, like scenes under pressure. Supporters defended her harder, critics questioned her louder, and neutrals backed away completely. Nobody wanted to be wrong on record. Everyone waited to see who history would side with. And here's the brutal truth about moments like this. The lie detector didn't decide anything. The internet did. Once perception locks in, reality has to work twice as hard to change it. And even if the truth eventually surfaces, it won't erase how this moment felt. Because people remember feelings more than facts. Always have. Always will. This whole situation stopped being about Angela versus Karlissa. It became about credibility versus confidence. About who sounded sure and who sounded rehearsed. About who spoke once and who explained themselves into exhaustion. And "you feet gone be cold" went from a phrase to a forecast. Not necessarily of guilt, but of consequences, because cold feet don't mean you lied. They mean you walked into something unprepared. They mean you underestimated the ground. They mean you thought you were safe until you realized the floor wasn't solid. And the scariest part, this story still feels unfinished. No bombshell yet. No definitive reveal. No closure. Just tension hanging in the air like a storm that hasn't decided whether it's passing through or touching down. The kind of situation where one message, one leak, one late-night post could flip everything again. And that's what makes this dangerous. Because the internet doesn't move on from unfinished business. It waits. And waiting is when pressure builds. Karlissa said one sentence. Angela took one test. And somehow, both walked away changed. Cold feet don't thaw quickly. They linger, they numb. They remind you every step forward might still slip. And if history has taught us anything, it's this: when scandals pause instead of ending, they usually come back louder, messier, and with receipts. So whether this was warning, wisdom, or warfare, one thing's certain. And if you're still here right now, that tells me everything. You felt it too. Because stories like this don't trend by accident. They move because they hit nerves. They make you pause, rewind, and ask, wait, did I miss something? And trust me, in this space, missing something is never an option because the internet never sleeps. And scandals don't come with warning labels. So do me a favor, smash that like button like it owes you money. Because the algorithm only respects chaos. Drop a comment and tell me where you stand. Was that lie detector a flex or a fatal miscalculation? Was Karlissa warning trolling or quietly checking the temperature before something bigger drops? I want to hear your theories, your hot takes, and your wildest predictions because half the story lives in the comments. And if you're not subscribed yet, fix that immediately. This is the channel where drama doesn't trickle, it floods. Where receipts don't disappear, they resurface. Where today's rumor becomes tomorrow's headline, and yesterday's silence turns into tonight's meltdown. You don't want to hear about the next scandal secondhand, you want to be here when it breaks. Because let's be honest, this story isn't over. Cold feet don't warm up on their own. Silence doesn't stay silent forever. And when the internet smells unfinished business, it always circles back with sharper claws and louder receipts. So lock in. Stay alert and keep your notifications on, because when the next piece drops, it's not going to whisper. It's going to hit. And remember, this is Celeb Sync, where the drama stays icy, the truths stay uncomfortable, and the internet never forgets.